Thank you. Please sit down. Welcome to this extraordinary meeting of Sevenoaks Town Council. Today, Monday the 15th of June. When we get down to the agenda of public questions, or did you want to say something first?
I think before the public questions, now then for the presentation.
Yes, right. This is part of public questions. Good. We're very fortunate to have Helena here, who's going to give us a presentation on her work on the Stag Theatre, the cultural part of Sevenoaks. And thank you very much, Helena, for coming. So enjoy this interview.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Councillor Stratfield and to Sevenoaks Town Council for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. Now, it is neither my job nor my intention to attempt to inform or educate you on any of the political, economic, or cultural implications of the transfer of the freehold of the Stag Theatre. I'm sure all your expertise and your knowledge here far outweighs my own. Instead, I'm here to give my own insight. As a performer and as a concerned member of the community, one of their own, as I'm sure you know. The Stag has a very high impact on life in Sevenoaks. It improves the nighttime economy and supports hospitality, and it builds a community of around 50 active volunteers, providing nearly 5,000 hours of community service per year. And it improves the attractiveness of the local area. Now, it is easy to look at the statistical evidence of impact. During the period of 2024 to 2025, over 800 live events have taken place at the Stag, alongside 2,200 film showings, comprising of 25,000 participants and over 115,000 attendees. What cannot be measured, however, is personal impact. Statistics cannot show the cultural phenomenon of families and individuals attending the theatre. Statistics cannot show the emotional response brought about by a live performance, or the number of children who go on to discover new passions, or frankly, the joy of an audience heckling a man dressed as a pantomime dame. I have been performing as a dancer, an actor, and a singer my whole life. I've seen firsthand what the Stag can do and has done for hundreds, if not thousands, or tens of thousands of children, from Sevenoaks and beyond. I first performed at the Stag in 2021 in a community theatre production of Peter Pan. I have since taken to the stage at the Stag countless number of times. I have gone on and with various companies, and I've gone on to work up to take on leading roles. I have made lifelong friendships. I have laughed, cried, and at times overcome hardships which have shaped me to be who I am today. Hardships which, frankly, overcoming now allow me to speak in front of you. I think I speak for everyone who has performed at the Stag when I say it's truly an experience like no other, fostering memories which will last a lifetime. Now, if the future of the Stag can be secured, matters can move to improvement, extension, and development. With the right funding and fundraising, the people of Sevenoaks can hope to see major improvements to the theatre. For example, more toilets, which I'm sure we all know the Stag needs, disabled access to the stage, additional seating, the addition of a fly tower, and the implementation of a performing arts school and an art gallery. These additions would not only improve the theatre-going experience of those in Sevenoaks, but attract more touring shows and draw in audiences from a wider geographical area, establishing Sevenoaks as an attractive venue and town. I now draw your attention to the options provided by the District Council. No action being taken is simply not an option. When the lease runs out in 9 years' time, who can say who the administration will be and what decisions will be made? Similarly, the 30-year extension of the peppercorn lease may achieve those short-term goals which extend to long-term benefits, such as the improvements or extension works. However, this decision pushes the ultimate burden, pressure, and economic stress onto my generation. A generation for whom education has been interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. A generation who is battling for a place among rising technologies and AI, an area where theatre stands true and real among generated content. A generation for whom culture, community, and support is more important than it ever has been before. A support which is necessary to give me and my peers the same fighting chance at success as other generations have had. a support provided by local places, like Stag. This decision cannot be deferred, and it must be undertaken now. I understand the economic burden placed onto the Town Council by the creation of the proposal for a transfer for £650,000. The Sevenoaks Town Council and Stag Charity have already invested £1.5 million at an approximate £90,000 per year. As previously mentioned, freehold of the Stag is critical to the life of the town. Both the Sevenoaks District Council and Sevenoaks Town Council should recognise this. And naturally, I am in favour of a transfer of the freehold for no additional cost. However, if no agreement is to be made, and if it becomes a legal requirement to pay for the Stag, new legal options should be explored. I would like to propose a collaborative approach between the two councils, where, to prevent economic instability and stress, instead of a singular large sum being transferred, an initial amount of, say, 10% of the asking price is transferred. Then, over the course of an agreed-upon period, a staggered payment approach is put into place, during which the subsequent sums are paid, taken from various donation schemes and from council tax, to be reinvested back into local life and promotion of the arts and culture in Sevenoaks, preserving the Stag for generations to come and keeping the cultural heart of Sevenoaks beating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helena, for that. That was fascinating. It was really good to see perspective of somebody much younger than most of us around the table on the future of this cultural asset. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting if you'd like to. Do we have any public questions for this meeting? Not for the planning meeting, which is happening afterwards. No, thank you. We have a problem for our meeting. No.
Councillor Dr Dixon, Councillor Daniel and
Thank you. And then request for dispensations, and I just must remind us all that all Stag trustees have a legal dispensation. So any request for dispensations apart from that. No, thank you. Declaration of interest. And the minutes of the Sevenoaks Town Council held on the 8th of June 2026 to follow. So I propose that we receive, adopt and sign the minutes of the meeting of Sevenoaks Town Council held on the 8th of June as a true record. Is that proposing the chair? Is that right? Right. So we have one major agenda item on today, and that is are going to discuss the community asset transfer for the Stag today, and I'd like to open the floor to comments from councillors. Thank you, Councillor Shaker.
Thank you. You have in front of you a paper which sets out 3 options which have been presented to us by Sevenoaks District Council. If you haven't read it, which I'm sure you have, then Helena's excellent summary of it just now will have given you a very clear insight into it. And I would just like to say actually that when I did work experience of your age, I was colouring in conveyancing drawings, so I'm glad you had a useful week that's led to the ability for you to express your strongly held views, and I appreciate you sharing them with us. Thank you. So we have been presented with 3 options by the District Council, as you know. The first is the transfer of the freehold to the Town Council at a cost of £650,000. That is the existing use value identified by the District Councillor's report. The second option is a 30-year peppercorn lease, which we don't know the precise details of the terms of that, the heads of terms of that, but we would like to think that we might be able to ensure that that was peppercorn for the duration, but we don't have that in writing. The third option is essentially a no action option, and the ownership of the asset would roll over to the new unitary council when it's formed, we expect next year. We have been asked by the leader and officers at a meeting 10 days ago to express our choice on these 3 options tonight. Last week, District Council's Finance and Investment Advisory Committee asked the Cabinet to seek a negotiated position that would be satisfactory to both councils. And we have been trying since then and indeed before then to find a route into negotiations and have been rebuffed, I'm afraid to report. Sevenoaks District Council has said repeatedly in its FAQs, its press releases and papers that it's not legal, it would not be legal for them to transfer the stag for a nominal value as we'd requested. And so we have taken legal advice this week from King's Council, which concludes that it would be legal to transfer at nil value if District Council chose to, and indeed that it would be in line with government policy. So on that basis, I'd like to move the following motion, which I'm sure Chair will open for debate. The motion is this: that Sevenoaks District Council has previously stated it is not legal to transfer the freehold of stag at a nominal fee, and for this reason and others set out by SDC, therefore must charge Sevenoaks Town Council and Sevenoaks residents £650,000. Sevenoaks Town Council does not believe the public should be asked for public money to retain a public asset in community use just because it is moving from one local authority to another. This has been confirmed by King's Council that it is a legally possible option. Having received this legal advice, Sevenoaks Town Council would want to enter into negotiation for the freehold of the lease to be transferred. If Sevenoaks District Council says it is unwilling or unable to agree a negotiated sum recognising cultural, social and economic value, Sevenoaks Town Council will accept the option of a 30-year peppercorn lease on terms to be negotiated. However, this would be strictly without prejudice to the Town Council's continuing position that the freehold should be transferred. Acceptance of the lease would not diminish, replace or detract from Sevenoaks Town Council's ongoing position that the freehold should be transferred for the reasons set out in its stag business proposal. To be very clear, Sevenoaks Town Council do not wish to progress with option 3 as it would be detrimental to cultural facilities in the town and in the district.
Thank you, Councillor Shea. Councillor Skinner.
I'd like to second that motion, if I may. I'd like to start by again saying what a fantastic presentation you gave us, Helena. Is it Helena or Helena? Helena, sorry. I think you set up extremely clearly the value of the stag, and I was very taken by your points about how the decisions that are being made tonight here and tomorrow at the District Council in the future will impact primarily on your generation rather than on us. So I think that was a very important point that you made. So many thanks for that. Frankly, I find it bizarre in the extreme that there have not been negotiations on this. We have two councils trying to work out what the best solution would be for a very important asset in order to secure its long-term future and allow significant investment into the into the stag and into the community in Sevenoaks. Discussions that were started before local government reorganisation came into view and which have been made more pressing by local government reorganisation or have sharpened because of local government reorganisation. And the thought that the elected leaders of the District Council have not taken account of the clearly expressed views of FIAC, the Finance Committee at Council, and the clearly expressed views of the Council itself. When at the last Council meeting, it was abundantly obvious across the chamber that the views of the elected councillors was that there should be a negotiation. It's a very sensible and straightforward thing to do. But as Councillor Shea has said, that has been rebuffed. The King's Council's advice that we've received, again, frankly, it's not surprising, but it's very helpful to have it. And it does put to bed the statements that are on the District Council website at the moment which say that it is legally impossible to transfer at a nominal sum. That is simply not the case, regardless of what is actually on the District Council website at the moment. So the resolution in front of us proposes a pragmatic way forward. We would still like to obtain the freehold. We would like to obtain the freehold at for a sum that is appropriate, given the investment that has gone into this by the people of residence by the residents of Sevenoaks over the years. But if that were not possible, then we would be prepared to accept a 30-year peppercorn lease without in any way compromising our clear view that transferring the freehold at nominal sum is what would make the most sense. And lastly, the idea of doing nothing and allowing and just leaving the lease to run would be, as Helena pointed out, not the best way forward. In fact, I think I would go further. I think I would call it vandalism. I think it would mean that the stag would suffer enormously if that were the case, and that's not obviously something that town council would want to see. So, so with that, I'm very, very happy to second Councillor Shays.
Thank you, Councillor Skinner. Thank you. I'm going to open this up to debate. If anybody has anything they'd like to say about the proposed recommendation. Councillor Craig.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Matt. Congratulations from me as well, Taylor. I think that was a very good presentation. And I just wonder whether it might not lead us to add educational to the list of benefits in the motion.
Yes.
Which we didn't include in any of our earlier submissions to Sevenoaks District Council. But it's clear that Stag has a substantial educational benefit as well as social, community and economic.
Can I ask if Councillor Shays is happy for that?
I'm happy to
in the
make
motion
that amendment.
and second that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing which it's not just the 1.56 million pounds that the District Council and Stag have put into the building that underpins its value in the town. It's also the £60,000 a year of volunteer input, and probably more, that's valuing skilled painters like Chris Holgate at minimum wage, which is clearly another reason. So there are well over, I would guess, £1.5 million of community input in the form of volunteer work that has gone in to man the ticket offices, to sell the drinks, to sell the popcorn, and also, if I remember rightly, quite a lot of the new seats in the theatre were actually put in by volunteers. That's a major operation, which has served to increase the value of the Stag, which we're now being asked to pay for again. So, my view is that the 650,000 being asked for is entirely unreasonable. Entirely unreasonable. And there is no good reason why this council should be asked to finance a demand of that magnitude. But I do think it's right that we should try to negotiate a reasonable sum. Just for the simple reason that there is value to us and to Stag and to Sevenoaks in being able to get on with the development opportunities that we've identified, which were part of our business plan. And there's a value to that and getting on to that this year. Just starting it, plans underway, rather than waiting until a 30-year lease has been made over. But if that is not possible, clearly the 30-year lease is the next best option. And in my view, option 3 is completely unacceptable. It's not just detrimental, it's completely unacceptable because it's damaging to the community.
Thank you, councillor Craig. Can I just clear something up? At the beginning, I think you talked about investment in the stag.
Yeah.
And I think you said SDC, you meant STC.
Yes,
Yes.
well,
Just for the
it's the
record.
stag plus,
Thank
it's the
you.
stag charity
Yes.
and the town council working together,
Yes,
which has done the investment.
thank you. Ah, councillor Lane.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to just reiterate everything that's been said so far, and totally support everything that everyone said. And I was really moved by Helena's presentation, very moved by it. It was very powerful, very heartfelt, and I really support everything you've said. So well done. I wanted to talk about mental health and well-being in the community, because I do believe theatre, drama, music, the arts actually help people's well-being. It helps people, it alleviates loneliness when people are brought together. Drama, I used to run a drama school, and I know how much that helped some of my less secure students when I was teaching them, perhaps some of the less academic ones, that actually come and say to me how much it helped them grow as a person. So these performances for young people are very, very powerful and help them teach them life skills, in fact. So I think whether we can add that in about how important it is in terms of the well-being and mental health of our community in all areas.
Thank you very much, councillor Lane. I'll refer that back to councillor Shea at the end when we've had all our comments, if that's all right. And is anybody else like to speak to this motion? Are we all content with it? And have we've got a small amendment to there, haven't we? In which case,
Education.
we can,
And if I may, Madam Mayor, I think we've just taken a list of 3 to a list of 4 by including education, and we have social in there. And if councillor Lane will agree, I would just like to leave that list there and keep it reasonably short. Partly also because actually the legislation around transferring the community assets specifically refers to social, economic and environmental benefits delivered by those
Okay.
assets.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'd like to keep it focused. If
I'm
I may.
happy
But
with that.
I think your point is absolutely right.
Thank you.
The benefit of culture, of art is very high in that regard, and we know that STAG and other art institutions have great benefits for people. You're absolutely right.
good, are we ready to, can we put it to the vote then? Do we need to read the motion out again, or are we happy with it as it stands? We're okay?
I'm happy.
You're happy, we're all happy that we know what we're going to do. Right, I propose on the chair that we accept this motion, and thank you, that's unanimous. Thank you very much, councillors, and that is we've ended this meeting, apart from first release, which I think we'll probably need to the far right for a couple of days. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think Sue Randy's got confusion.
This bit, which one? Sorry, I've got your bit as well. Sorry. Yeah, no, right. I suppose I shouldn't have that on the table, should I?
You look at the.
Yes. Okay, right, if I need something you can say, okay. No. Oh, right. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning and Environment Committee today, Monday, the 15th of June. Welcome to anyone joining us on YouTube. My name is Councillor Sue Camp. Apologies. Oh no, probably questions. No? Apologies for absence.
Councillor Riley, Councillor Dr Gibson, Councillor Daniel, Councillor O'Hara and Councillor Lane.
Thank you. Request for dispensations? So far. Declaration of interest?
I have
Yes.
a small conflict on one of the planning applications, which I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Minutes, pages 5 to 13 to receive and agree the minutes from the Planning and Environment Committee held on the 1st of June 2026. Any comments or debate on any of those? Can we vote to agree them then, please? Thank you. Key upcoming changes to planning legislation, that's pages 16 to 17, to receive a note, a briefing report which summarising the following 2 upcoming planning legislation changes being introduced by central government and how they may impact the town council. That's the replacement of the community right to bid with a new community right to buy and changes to the biodiversity net gain threshold and exemptions. Okay, we note those. Item 6, assets of community rights nomination to consider whether the town council should nominate the former M&Co building, that's the 96 High Street, as an asset of community value on the following grounds: that its current use, being a valuable community shop as well as affordable arts studios, furthers residents' social, recreational and cultural interests. That its potential future use to incorporate a market hall and cultural hub strengthens its value as a community asset and to help secure its protection from sale on the open market in light of local government reorganisation. And the second part is to consider whether the town council should resubmit nominations for the following assets. Whose asset of community value registrations are due to expire on the 22nd of September. So we've got 2 different things going on. Stag Theatre, Bradwell Lakes, Kaleidoscope Gallery, Library and Museum. Can I come to a clerk on those?
If you could take one first,
Yeah.
for councillors, whether you wish to nominate the former M&Co building, if you could make the lead on that. please.
Yes, Councillor Bramble?
Thank you, Chair. I approve of this nomination. I think it's a very important community asset space at the moment. The downstairs charity shop, upstairs the studios, which I know need a lot of work done on them, but they are essential to the beating heart of Sevenoaks Cultural Quarter. And I'd like to see this nominated as a community asset.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Skinner? Yes.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, it's such a great location as well. It's so visible, it's so there's no confusion about where to go. I think it's a really valuable asset in that sense. You know, you can just park in the car park and it's literally there. So I could absolutely support council as well.
Councillor Skinner?
So I'd like a bit of clarification if I may. So when something is nominated or registered as an asset of community value, does that have a influence on the architecture or the function, building or the function? And that's relevant both M&Co and for Kaleidoscope. So what is the consequence of registration?
It provides an automatic protection, as we had for Longswing Wood and other places, that if it's put up for sale or to be disposed of, then the town council can put in a motion to say that it wants time to consider whether it becomes used by the community before it goes on.
Right, then that's the, so it's about the building. So right, okay.
Keeping it in the community use.
Right, because I will come on to Kaleidoscope because there's obviously when the land east of the High Street development proceeds properly and fully, Kaleidoscope will come into that. And I wouldn't want that to, and obviously it's important it's integrated. But if it's simply a point that we would have an opportunity to bid for it in the community,
The registration of a building or piece of land as an asset of community value is not legally required to be a material consideration in planning applications. So it doesn't protect change of use. It only protects in the instance that it's put up for sale. So it would only protect it from disposal. It wouldn't protect it from being redeveloped or included in the land east of High Street.
So if it were redeveloped, then the fact that it's an asset of community value would simply disappear because it was no longer there.
It can be renominated. It depends if, and
It's the only layer of protection we have the opportunity to do.
and it's up to the discretion of the planning officers and the local planning authority as to whether or not they consider it to be material or not.
Just gives us a bit of safety net, I think, to try and keep, yeah, a bit of time. Councillor Shay.
Just to take a step back to the, I think former Eminent Co-building, I think there's a strong argument in favour of adding it to the community asset register because of those studios and their importance locally, and it ties in with our Sevenoaks Town neighbourhood plan for a cultural quarter that in that area. It's such an important part of the sort of making element of that and the cultural element. It's absolutely worth putting that protection on if we can.
I think so. Any other comments? Okay, can we? I was ready. Do you want to comment or you wait?
I was going to propose we do this.
Yes.
We haven't had a proposition on the table, so I propose we do it.
Okay, seconded, fine. If there's no other debate, can we vote on that, please? All in favour? Thank you. Moving on to the second part, which is to consider whether the town council should resubmit nominations for the Stag, Sevenoaks, Kaleidoscope, Library and Museum. Councillor Shay.
Can I propose a motion that we submit applications to renew those three listings, please?
Yeah. Any further debate? I think it's really good that we try and do that. Any further debate? Can we vote on that then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Item 7, appeal land south of Larches. This is pages 19 to 20. Received notice of the submission of the following appeal, which is land south of Larches, Ashgrove Road. To note that the appeal is proceeding under written reps procedure. Therefore, the town council may provide representation if deemed appropriate. This must be done by the 1st of July. The town council is not notified nor consulted on agricultural forestry notification applications and therefore has not submitted comment on either the original application or the appeal. There's following documentation on that link there. However, I'd like to come to Councillor Gustard on this one, please.
Yes, so I would just like to say, although we haven't formally been consulted on this application because of its agricultural nature, the planning history of the site and the wider implications of the proposal, I would suggest, do justify the council submitting comments on this appeal. And I'd like to recommend that we object to the appeal and support Sevenoaks District Council's decision to refuse the application. Now, I know we've had shared a very thorough submission from a local resident. He shared with us his submission to the inspectorate, which gave a very comprehensive overview of the current access arrangements to the site and the planning history. So I won't read those all out to you this evening. I will take those as read, unless anybody wants to ask me questions about it. But I'd like to put forward the recommendation that the council resolves to submit an objection on the following grounds, which would be that the existing access is adequate for the agricultural use currently taking place on the land, that the agricultural justification does not satisfy the reasonably necessary test under Class B. And the planning inspector's 2006 decision remains materially relevant to the current proposal, and that the planning history does not support the creation of a new access onto Ashgrove Road.
Thank you. Do you have a second on that one? Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Any further debate on this? No, can we vote, put that forward then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Thank you, councillor Gosford. You can go on that one. Item 8 is Thames Water Public Consultation on the Draft Drought Plan 2027, that's pages 21 to 23. To receive notice that Thames Water is consulting on its draft drought plan 2027, to note the documents relevant to the consultation, including supporting documents and information on how to comment, are available via the following webpage shown there, and to consider agree whether the Town Council submit a formal response with the deadline to do so in the 23rd of July 2026. Councillor Shay, drought.
Yes, very important.
Yeah.
Thames Water locally manages our wastewater in the town, not our clean water, and this drought plan is in relation to drinking water supply. They do supply drinking water elsewhere in the county and in the region, but not in this southeast of the area. But my suggestion would be that we submit a response.
Okay, all right. Yes, councillor Clayton?
Yeah, I can understand one member of it. However, Thames Water's supply in the areas north of Sevenoaks in the Downs Valley do abstract water from the aquifer through which the River Downs flows. And we have contributed recently to the work that's going on Dartmouth River Villages Preservation in Society. So a study on how much water can be sustainably taken from the aquifer without reducing the flow of the Downs to affect it to an extent that affects it biodiversity in the valley. Now those abstraction points are at Sunbridge, and I think there isn't a Sunbridge, I'm afraid. And there's one further up the valley beyond Oxford, I think it is. So I would suggest that we just look at that before we actually say no. But our concern is the impact of abstraction on the river.
Well, we have time, haven't we, to bring this back 23rd of July. So perhaps we should do that then.
Defer it to the next meeting.
Defer it while you look into that.
I'll have a look. See, it's a question of whether their drought plan affects the abstraction. If it does, we should comment on it.
Okay.
Because drought is what takes the valley, the flow of the Darren River below sustainable level.
At the very low.
Is it?
Okay, so we do need to, then let's bring it back. Can we bring that one back? Yeah, we'll do that. Yes, councillor Kelly.
Thank you. I think that is a very important point. And the other one is that Thames Water looks at the infrastructure that its operations use, because that's part of the problem, isn't it? And it's to do with how weather events happen. So is there any way of putting any of that into some comments?
Well, we can, we'll bring them back perhaps.
Because it's concerned us a great deal over the years.
Well, I think when we bring it back, those are the comments that we can raise, and councillor Clayton will bring back. I think that's probably the best thing that we do as we have. Unless anyone wants to suggest anything else. Right, moving on to item 9, Noel Academy public consultation on proposals to open a specialist resource provision. Page 25, to receive notice that Noel Academy is consulting on its proposal to open a specialist resource provision, SRP, for children with autistic spectrum disorder, ASD, and or speech language and communication needs, SLCN, from September 2027. This would provide 30 places for students with an education, health and care plan or ASD and LCN. Well, that's brilliant. To note that all documents relevant to the consultation, including supporting documents and information on how to comment, are available via a link shown there. To receive copy of the consultation questions attached and to agree whether the town council submit a formal response, with the deadline to do so being 24th of June 2026. So we have to comment with the delegate.
Can we send this in as individuals as well?
Yes,
Right.
I think it's good if they're providing something like that. Any other comments from the table? Are we going to submit a formal response or is everyone going to do it?
I hope it happens locally.
The seat is very important, and it's coming to this committee because the committee thinks very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's about planning, it comes under neighbourhood development plan for infrastructure and different items. Anyway, where else it would go, but I think the council will probably welcome.
Yeah, I think we would welcome that provision.
Great.
I think that would be our comment. Has anyone got?
I will sound an alternative to that, which is that I welcome something happening that gives additional capacity, but I think that these particular provisions risk isolating rather than integrating. And I have the concerns about the model being adopted, but the question is not that. The question is, do we put together a response here tonight or over the coming week as a council? It's outside of our area of expertise, but we're entitled to make a response as a council.
Yes.
It sort of depend on how the questions are phrased, whether or not they're individual, you know, they're best responded to individually or as a group. Has anyone looked at the surveys there? Page 25.
Should we respond to the council or just do it? I think we should actually make some kind of response. Do you want us to send comments to you to formulate together or?
Short question. It shouldn't be over a sugar figure in some of the consultations we see.
It's really number 3, isn't it? Is the town council in favour of establishing it?
Yes.
Yes,
Or not?
I think so.
I'm sure.
We are, providing it doesn't lead to isolation, but what we were saying, do you want to?
I can put something down on paper. I don't think we need to spend time in the plan necessarily, but I'll jot down that.
Can we do it that way? Yes, do we need to vote on that?
Sure.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Okay, so councillor Shay will put something down along those lines. Yes, we welcome it, but we don't want it to be leading to any isolation or stigma or anything like that. So we'll agree to do that. All in favour, please? Thank you. Keeps us moving on. Thank you. Item 10, Kent Downs Management Plan 2026 to 2031 public consultations. Received notice that Kent Downs National Landscape is consulting on its 2026 to 2031 management plan, which will be used to influence decisions and priorities for nature recovery, farming, climate action, access and tourism. To note, all documents relevant to the consultation, including supporting documents and information on how to comment, are available via the following link there shown. And to consider and agree whether the town council submit a formal response, with the deadline to do so being 19th of July 2026. Is this something we want to bring back or do now? Yes, councillor Clayton.
I have not read what they're proposing.
So shall we bring, if we got time?
I would like to read it, but I remember we gave support to Kent Downs Trust, whatever it was, for the geopark.
Yes.
I'd like to know how that's getting on. So I need to read it.
Let's bring it back because we've been rather sidetracked with other things, so let's bring this one back then, please. Decision notices on planning applications that we've commented on, yes?
Return interest in respect of items, the first 2 items on this list. And if I did
Okay.
I guess that's me as well, then.
Oh,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
a few differences, not many. Okay, we'll just. We'll note them, I don't really need to dwell on them too much, do we? Right, planning applications, let's move on. The first one, 43 The Drive, councillor Willis.
Okay, so rebuilding of boundary wall fencing, driveways, driveway widened to accommodate 2 cars and some small scale landscaping. No alterations to the main building, and it all seems fairly modest. Can't see any trees that are impacted either. Obviously it's in a conservation area, but I guess the provision of extra off-street parking might actually be an amenity to the street. So I've suggested approval subject to conservation officer being happy with the design materials and the impact on the conservation.
Thank you, do we have a seconder? Thank you, any debate? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Moving on, well, 80 Oak Hill Road, councillor Daniel, are you going to do that one, councillor?
Yes, I'm happy to do this one, Chair. So this is 80 Oak Hill Road, and we actually saw this application a few weeks ago. It's back in front of us tonight because there was a request there's a TPO oak tree in front of the next door neighbour's garden. So the tree officer had requested a tree report for the impact on that. So the arboricultural report is there, and the conclusion that there's no impact on trees and hedges. And so my recommendation is approved.
Thank you, do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Moving on, 22 Seal Road, councillor Dr. Hannay.
This is a single story ancillary outbuilding with an air source, heat pump and associated soft landscaping. This is in a fairly new house along the Seal Road opposite the Wilderness school site. It's quite a large house, and the small building in the garden is next to a footpath, so I think the heat source pump is, if there is any noise, it's not going to upset anybody. And there's hedging to shield the little buildings and everything, and I recommend approval.
Thank you, do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? We vote, please, all in favour? Thank you. Moving on, £9 Lane, councillor Gladys.
Thank you, Chair. So the proposal is to strip off the existing mixed slate roof covering and replace it with new natural slates, and also to replace the roof battens and felt. So this is a Grade 2 listed house. It's in the heart of the Vine Conservation Area. The application is to have the roof covering renewed. It's a sympathetic and necessary repair, the slate roof, and I don't see any problems. So my recommendation is approval, provided the planning officer is satisfied with the design materials and the conservation officer is satisfied that there isn't an adverse impact on a listed.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Need a vote? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Okay, Haven Grafton Lane, councillor Rutherford.
Yes, so this is for a single-storey outbuilding sauna pod and pergola. Oak Haven is a new build currently under construction, and it's in the curtilage of Garnets, a locally listed property. The new timber-clad outbuilding will sit on existing decking in the southeast corner of the garden and house a gym with a flat roof extending over the timber sauna pod and the jacuzzi just next door. It will be a maximum of 3.2 metres high. There's also an aluminium pergola at 2.4 metres high that's proposed for the existing breakfast area in the southwest corner on the boundary with Garnets. So the area where the outbuilding is positioned sits within the RPA of surrounding trees. Outside, I did say outside, not within, didn't I? And away from the TPO tree on the boundary with Loxford. It's single storey, so there's no risk of overlooking to Loxford. But whilst it's only single storey, I am concerned about the overall height at 3.2 metres, which seems quite large. So the tree hop has commented that the foundations for the outbuilding area are already in place without any tree protection fencing installed, despite these being indicated on the plans. The pergola has an open structure, so will have minimal impact on the neighbouring locally listed assets. So my recommendation is for approval, providing that the planning officer is satisfied that there is no loss of amenity to neighbours from the height of the proposed outbuilding. And I'd like to submit an informative that works should cease until the tree protection measures are in place, and that the outbuilding should only be used for ancillary use to the main dwelling.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please, on that? All in favour? Thank you. Site of 136 High Street, councillor Brownhill.
Thank you, Chair. It's, this is part of the new Pure Lake development. A proposal for 3 new standard air conditioning units installed at ground level, enclosed on 3 sides of protected railings on the ground floor. Proposed new low noise CO2 gas cooler to be installed at ground level. Proposed new 2.4 metre high timber fence and access gates to be installed. The location is to the side of the development, the south side of the development, as it sort of winds its way back. And it's behind some shops with residential units above. So it's behind Emma Coleman's Skincare, which is the health shop, Coro, and the Works will have this behind them. There are 3 units. There is on the portal, there's comment from, oh good, thank you very much. That's really helpful. Good. So it's behind, well, it's the side, actually it's the side of yes. So you've got the high streets there, okay. The conservation officer has commented, I printed out the comment and I haven't got it with me, but it's got to be tested. There are conditions, they would suggest conditions on the units themselves, conditions on the way that the noise abatement is implemented, and that it should be tested before it's put into full use, and that ameliorating baffles should be put in if it does turn out to be noisier than it's supposed to be from the manufacturer's report. So considering that, I think we can probably approve this. It's obviously something that needs to go ahead before the whole building can be put to use. So I would recommend approval on this.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Thank you. So is it approval provided all those things are?
Well, approval provided the conditions from the officer's report are implemented, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, okay, I think that's it. And you'll have to second that, you'll have to look at it again. Any further debate?
Are these units servicing the shops or are they servicing the flats above?
I don't know, I couldn't determine that from the application.
Shops. Well, they're on ground level.
Yes, they're on ground level.
The application's being made by Tesco, but Tesco is the furthest
Away.
store away, but I think their storage area wraps around, doesn't it? So I wonder if it's as cooling for the food storage space.
Possibly. Yes, councillor McLeod.
I think it's very important that these aren't too noisy for residents, because they could be very noisy, and you'd really want to make sure that they get this right before they're installed, before they're whirring away. It's not like it's a commercial building, the whole, you know, the height. They've got residential flats literally just above, in fact, not far at all.
But I think what they're saying is that providing all
yes, the conditions beforehand and the testing afterwards.
So
before it's allowed to be
rigorously
used.
sort of
Yes, I mean, I was concerned when I looked at it, but
Okay, so any further debate? Can we vote on that then, please? All in favour? Thank you. Carried. So we are to councillor Willis.
Right, so it's Eardley Road, so insertion of roof lights in the front and side roof. Yeah, so I think it's quite sympathetic to the building. It's obviously within a conservation area. So yeah, my suggestion is approval, providing the conservation officer is satisfied that there is no detrimental impacts on the conservation.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Councillor Skinner.
Okay, so this is 2 Huntston Road Drive, retrospective application for minor regrading work to the garden, aesthetic, retaining wall, enclosure and landscaping. Development situated at the northern edge of the garden, which abuts the boundaries number 3, Huntston Drive, number 1, Newtown Place. The land level at the corner of the plot were raised in this location following the removal of the tree, which meant the land in this position was significantly lower than the rest of the rear end of the area. First, the works to stabilise the ground with a retaining wall, enclose the plot in a safe manner, and enhance the plot with landscaping. There's a public comment on the portal that states that the increase in height is adversely affecting the privacy of the neighbouring property, but the same comment acknowledges that the new fence that has been installed does largely address the privacy issue. So I recommend approval, subject to planning commission being conditioned on the commission and making of the new fence.
Thank you. No seconder. Thank you. Any debate? Yes.
This applicant's family and close friends of mine, so I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments or debates? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you, carried. Number 9, councillor Gusford, White Parkland.
Yes, so this is a garage conversion to a habitable accommodation with alterations to the fenestration, replacement of the rear dormer with a larger dormer and windows to replace. So the integral garage is being converted into the new living room with other internal alterations. At the rear, on the first level, the existing dormer is to replace with a larger dormer window, providing, well, it's a larger dormer and an additional window, providing additional space to the master bedroom. The new window will be a closed picture window. All materials to match existing, and all windows are to be replaced with black frames and white casements. So there wasn't actually many documents on this plan. There were only so wasn't a block plan or site plan, so it's difficult to assess the distance from any neighbouring properties. So I can't comment on whether that new bedroom window will cause any overlooking. So I'm recommending approval, providing the planning officer is satisfied that there's no loss of amenity to neighbours.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Any debate or comments? Can we vote then, please, all in favour? Thank you. Back to the agenda, and we have press releases. Any press releases? No? Okay, then that being the case, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to close the meeting for 20 minutes. Thank you.